The Extraordinarily Ordinary Life of Cassandra Jones. Walker Wildcats Year 1, Age 10, by Tamara Hart Heiner. Voiced by Tamara Hart Heiner. Episode 1, The New Girl. Chapter 1, New School. The van door slides shut behind me as my brother climbs out, but still I stand in front of my new school, staring up at it. My heart thumps out a staccato rhythm in double time. Da-dum, da-dum, da-dum. I know where my classroom is. My mom showed me when we visited the school a few days ago. That's not the problem. The problem is I don't know anyone. Last year was the best one ever at Northridge Elementary. I spent every spare moment with my best friend, Tammy. My mind flashes on those images now, eating lunch together, running on the playground, trying to see who could go the highest on the swing set at Tammy's house. My family left Texas right after the last day of school. As in, I walked out the school doors talking with Tammy and saw my mom's van waiting in the pickup line. Everyone was already inside, the vehicle packed to the rafters with what the moving truck didn't take. And in that moment, the weight of the situation hit me like a grand piano. I threw my arms around Tammy and sobbed into her shoulder. Cassie, Cassie. My mom's voice behind me makes me zone back into reality. I blink back moisture and turn to the open window and the van that hasn't moved. Cassandra, I'm holding up the line, my mom says, weary lines etched around her eyes. Still, I know from the way she purses her lips together that she isn't unsympathetic to my plight. You've got to go inside, Cassie. You're going to be fine. I nod and force my feet to step forward. My younger brother and sister are already gone, fearless in the face of the unknown. They don't know enough to be scared. I do. I'm a 5th grader now, and I know how mean kids can be. I had a good group of friends in Texas, solid protection. I have nothing here. Being late isn't the first impression I want to make either. I quicken my pace and duck into the classroom, depositing my lunchbox next to the others lined up against the wall. I find the desk Miss Dawson showed me last week and settle into it. I keep my eyes down while surveying my new classmates out of the corner of my eye. A boy with brown hair and glasses chats with another boy, and a girl with short, reddish blonde hair shows off her new folders to a larger brunette. A few glance my way, but most pay me no mind. The breath slides out of me, and some of the tension works its way out of my shoulders. Nobody laughs at me or points me out as the new girl. The 8 o'clock bell rings, and the teacher starts the class by calling roll. I try to pay attention to the names, but they pass by in a blur. I remember to call out, "Here," when Miss Dawson reads, "Cassandra Jones." Sometimes I go by Cassie. The sentence is at the tip of my tongue, but I delay too long and am too timid, and Miss Dawson has already moved on. Miss Dawson gives out orders to organize our school supplies before copying down the sentences on the board. Copying sentences. This is familiar and easy, even if boring. The class works in silence, and I don't have to worry about whether anyone will speak to me. "All right, it's time for morning recess," the teacher says, and my traitorous heart starts to gallop again. Will anyone play with me? Will I be left alone at the sidewalk? Let's line up alphabetically. Miss Dawson reads our names, and we stand in turn and line up at the door. Matthew Higgins, Riley Isabel, Cassandra Jones. I stand, smoothing down the skirt of my first day of school dress. I never wear dresses except Sundays and the first day of school. In fact, I've always considered myself a tomboy, happier up in a tree than with a doll. But I felt a secret thrill of pleasure when my mother removed the curlers this morning and I caught a glimpse of my reflection, red pleated dress and full curls of dark hair tumbling down my back. I look pretty. The girl with the short strawberry blonde hair is in front of me. She casts a glance back at me and faces front again. I want to say hi, but the thought of speaking out loud makes my throat go dry. Instead, I plan what I will say the next time she turns around. We march down the hall in a semi-straight line, some kids dragging their feet or walking slightly out of sync with the rest. As soon as we burst through the back doors to the play yard, however, the line dissolves. We scatter like ants from a kicked anthill. It's a large play yard with a soccer field on one side, swings, tether balls, monkey bars, a metal dome climber in the middle, and trees on the other side. Wow, I say, speaking in spite of myself. It's so big. There's more on the other side, Matthew says, still standing close to me. This is the upper grades playground. He looks at me and then turns away, his cheeks coloring. He dashes off the sidewalk and joins the other kids. I smile. I'm not an outsider then. Someone has spoken to me. I don't join the other girls at the tetherballs. I don't know them well enough. Instead, I go to the swings. I pump my legs and go as high as I can. Up here, with the wind streaking through my hair and around my ears, no one else exists. It doesn't matter if I know anyone or have friends. Miss Dawson blows her whistle, and my classmates withdraw from different areas of the play yard, regrouping as if sucked in by a magnet. "Line up in order," she shouts. I look around for the short-haired girl. I wait until she has stepped into line, and then I get in behind her. "Hi," I say, gathering up my courage. She doesn't even turn around. Maybe she didn't hear. We clean up after recess and do a book assignment before going to lunch. Kids with lunch boxes line up on one side, and those buying lunch line up on the other. At least I won't have to be next to the short-haired girl who won't talk to me. I don't have the chance to wonder who will sit by me either. We file into the cafeteria and sit down at our table in the same order of our line. I open up my blue lunchbox, hoping my mom remembered I don't like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Someone taps me on the shoulder. "Cassandra?" I look up, trying to hide my surprise. The brunette from my class stands there. She brushes her shoulder-length hair back, balancing her lunch tray on her hip. "Want to eat lunch with me?" I look toward the table by the windows where she points, with another teacher and several other kids. Am I allowed to do that? The brunette smiles, showing colorful elastic bands around the braces on her teeth. "Yep." "Sure." I pack my lunch back up and follow the other girl. I try to smile too big, but I'm giddy with relief. Someone I don't know wants to eat lunch with me. "I'm Danelle," the girl says as we sit down with the other students. "And I'm Miss Buckley," the teacher says. She has short blonde hair and tiny wrinkles around her eyes. She smiles. "I'm the school counselor." "Hi," I say, unwrapping my peanut butter and jelly sandwich. "Great. I'm Cassandra. You can call me Cassie." The other kids introduce themselves, and I realize half of them are new too. I nod at them and put my sandwich aside for the other food offerings in my box. Grapes, chips, thermos of milk. "You don't like your sandwich?" Danelle asks. I shake my head. "Not really." "Here, trade with me." Not even asking, Danelle swaps out my sandwich for her chicken fingers from the hot lunch line. It's my favorite. "Thanks," I say, staring in wonder at her. What would it be like to have that kind of confidence, to be so sure of herself and others around her? "So where did you move from?" Danelle asks, biting into the soft white bread and speaking around the food. "Texas," I say, and I can't help getting excited. "I loved it there. I miss all my friends. But my dad, he got a job transfer, so now we're here." "In Arkansas," Danelle says, taking a swallow of milk. I nod, feeling my smile slip a bit. "Yeah." "What do you think of it so far?" Miss Buckley asks. I hesitate in my response. I hate it here. We've only lived here 3 months. I hate the small apartment that passes for our house. Hate that all my friends are still in Texas. Hate the snakes and spiders I spot any time I walk outside. But I know I can't say that. "The people are nice," I say. I tack a big smile onto the end of the sentence, hoping Miss Buckley will buy it. "That's right," Danelle says, nodding. "The nicest people ever live here." Turns out that Danelle's last name is Pierce, and she stands 2 people behind me in line. "Hi," she says to me when we line up for afternoon recess. "Hi," I say back, grinning. We meet up again outside. "Do you like to swing?" Danelle asks. "My most favorite thing," I reply. We race to the swings, each of us pushing harder to make ours go the highest. When Miss Dawson blows her whistle for us to go inside, Danelle jumps off without even stopping her swing. "Come on, Cassandra!" I hesitate. Tammy told me horror stories about people jumping off swings and cracking their heads open. I've always been too afraid to try. Silly goose, Danelle says. We have to line up. I tuck my legs under me before I can overthink it. I straighten them, take a deep breath, and jump. The momentum flings me forward, and my legs struggle to keep up. I stumble through the grass until Danelle grabs my arm, laughing. I can tell you haven't done that before, she says. Yeah, I agree. You'll have plenty of chances to practice. She races on ahead, and I follow, breathless. Today, and today only, Mom will pick us up in the car line. Tomorrow we will all ride the bus to the apartment in Fayetteville. The idea excites me. I've never been on a bus before except for field trips. I find my brother and sister, Scott and Emily, waiting outside within the mob of students. How was school? I ask them. Great, Emily says, launching into a lengthy description of the classroom rules and what activities they did. I tune her out. I didn't really want a play-by-play. Scott, I ask. Boring, he replies. You're in the first grade, I say. How can it be boring? He shrugs. I wait for someone to ask me, but no one does. So I state, well, my day was great. I've already made a best friend. I wait for a reaction, but Emily and Scott just stare at me. I let out a dramatic sigh. Don't you get it? If you don't have a best friend, you don't have anyone to hang out with. No one to tell your secrets to. No one to celebrate with you when you do great. No one to play with at recess. Having a best friend is the most important part of school. Emily's face lights up, and I know she's caught on. Yeah, I made a best friend. Not me, Scott grumbles. I didn't make any friends. Bye, Emily, someone calls. All three of us swivel to view a girl with long blonde hair and big blue glasses waving as she gets into a car. Bye, Emily calls back, waving enthusiastically. See you tomorrow. Is that your new best friend? I ask. No, I can't remember her name. My new best friend is Alyssa. She sits by me. Ah, I say. My best friend is... My words trail off as I take stock of the waiting area. About 5 kids still linger around the curb, but there are no more cars in line. Where's Mom? A teacher comes out of the school, a slight frown crinkling her forehead. All right, everyone inside. We'll start calling parents in a few minutes. Were we supposed to ride the bus? Emily says, her brown eyes wide and fearful. Maybe Mom's at home waiting for us. No, we weren't, I snap, my sudden worry making me cross. My head pounds with an oncoming headache. Mom wouldn't forget us, would she? She never has before. At our old school, we would walk several blocks and meet up with the car. Had she expected us to walk? I shake my head. We wouldn't even know which direction to go. We troop into the hallway between the entrance and the office. The other kids sit down on their backpacks or rest their heads on them, all looking tired and defeated. Where's your mom? Scott asks the little boy. He gives a shrug. She'll be here. She's always late. Late, Scott echoes, as if tasting the word. I squeeze my fists together and stare out the tall window, willing the blue van to appear. Any moment now, my mom will come into view, apologizing for whatever kept her from being here on time. A yellow car slides against the curb, and the little boy jumps up and runs outside. The teacher comes back. Okay, let's start calling parents. She points at me. We'll start with you. I stare at the teacher, my mouth suddenly going dry. I've just remembered something. I don't know our new phone number. Chapter 2. Misunderstanding. I follow the teacher into the office, squeezing my hands together as I go. The woman picks up the phone and hands it to me. It's just, I whisper. What? The woman leans closer. I can't hear you. I don't know my phone number, I whisper. The teacher sighs and puts the phone down. She goes behind the desk and opens up a filing cabinet. What's your last name? Jones. She thumbs through and stops on one. First name? Cassandra. The thumbing resumes until she finds what she wants. She pulls a card from the cabinet and picks up the phone. Is this a cell phone or a landline? She asks, punching the numbers into the phone. Landline, I answer. The woman hands the phone to me. I press it to my ear, listening to the monotone ring. Then it stops, and my mother's voice on the machine picks up. You've reached the Joneses. Leave us a message, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. I hang up before the beep and shake my head. No answer. Well, she must be on her way here. The teacher doesn't look too pleased. She ushers me back into the hallway and disappears into the office with another student. Did you reach Mom? Emily asks, chewing on her fingernails. I look down at my own nails. I broke the chewing habit this summer, but I have the urge to start up again. No, she's probably almost here. The words are barely out of my mouth when the blue van pulls into the parking lot, coming to a hasty stop at the curb in front of the doors. Emily and Scott bolt from the hallway. I follow behind, my relief morphing into anger. First day of school. How could she do this to us? I climb into the front seat and settle my backpack on the floor as Emily blabs away about what a great first day it was. Putting on my seatbelt, I interrupt. What happened? Was there a car accident? An emergency? My mother shoots me a weary look. No, Cassandra, no emergency. I'm very sorry I'm late. And that's it? No further explanation? I'm not ready to let it go. First day of school, Mom, and you weren't there. I don't feel like talking about the way the teacher looked at us, the way it felt to be forgotten. Why weren't you there? Mom presses her lips together. We live farther away than I thought. It won't happen again. From now on, you're on the bus. I lean my head back and release a sigh. What about you? Mom says, attempting conversation. How was school? I shrug. Fine. It was fine. We pull away from the curb, but we don't head in the direction I expect. Where are we going? I ask. To the new house. Mom gives me a smile. We should have everything ready to move in this weekend. Really? I gasp. Yay! Emily cheers in the back. Even Scott looks excited, and nothing excites him. Annette doesn't look up from her dolls. She probably doesn't care. Put something on over your school clothes, Mom says. There's grungies in the bags. We take back roads out to the countryside. No wonder my mom wasn't on time. It feels like we drive for half an hour before we turn up a long hill. At the top sits our plantation style with 4 pillars in front of the brick steps house. I'm more anxious than ever to move into it. The 2-bedroom apartment we're staying in is way too crowded for the 6 of us. I want my space back. Dad's small green sports car is already parked in the driveway, a large white moving van in the circular drive. He greets Mom with a kiss, and then I explode out of the van, heading for the house. Grab a box, he shouts, gesturing to the moving truck. Don't go in empty-handed. But we don't know where things go, I say. Just put it inside somewhere. We trudge back, and I pick up a smaller box labeled kitchen. Okay, so maybe I can figure out where this one goes. I push open the front door, walking through the tiled entryway into the kitchen. Both tables have already been set up. I put the box on the dining room table and head for the bedroom I share with Emily. I sigh in contentment. It isn't a big room, but it will just be the 2 of us, instead of all 4 of us like it is now. The bunk bed is already set up. I pull open the accordion doors that shield the closet. There's a bookshelf for my books. Suddenly, I want to get all those boxes into the house. I can't wait to start unpacking and make this place mine. It doesn't take long to settle into a routine at school. Each day becomes predictable. I have Danelle, and having a good friend helps me feel more comfortable with my other activities. By the end of the weekend, we're mostly settled into our new home. Dad surprises us with a dog and a cat from the local animal shelter. Everyone seems excited except Mom. Tomorrow I have my first girls' club meeting. I was a part of the same unit for 4 years in Texas. One of the first things my mom did was sign me up here. I hope I'll make friends. Miss Dawson hands out little blue books to everyone in class Monday morning. I open mine up. It only has 1 page inside, a white sheet with 20 blank squares centered around an ice cream cone. What is this? Emmett Schrimmer asks. This is your reading log, she says, stepping to the front of the class and smiling at everyone. When you finish reading a book, you come and tell me, and I'll give you a sticker. Put it on one of the squares. It has to be a chapter book, not a picture book. Once you have all your squares filled in, I'll take you out for an ice cream cone. This announcement is met by cheers and excited chatter from the students. I grin. 20 books. I can get that done in a month. Clear your desks and put your books away, Miss Dawson says. Then everyone line up. I glance at the time. Morning recess. I get in line behind Riley, the blonde who never says a word to me. I turn around and smile at Danelle, who winks at me. Let's go, Miss Dawson says. I start after Riley and nearly trip. Glancing down, I see my shoelace is untied. I step out of line to tie it, pausing to tighten up the other one, too. The class continues without me. When I look up, everyone has gone, including Miss Dawson. I jump to my feet, anxious to catch up with my class before anyone notices I'm missing. I know my way to the play yard, at least. I head that direction, folding my arms in the hall so no one will question why I'm out by myself. I march so that my ponytail swings like a pendulum. My shadow on the walls entertains me. The first place I head is the swings. I ride higher and higher into the wind, enjoying the exhilarating feel of freedom. I'm certain Danelle will notice me and come and join me. I pump my legs as hard as I can. My eyes sweep the play yard, trying to locate my friend with the shoulder-length brown hair. I don't spot her. I slow my swinging a bit as I swivel to search the soccer field, just in case Danelle decided to play. No Danelle. For that matter, I don't see anyone I recognize. My momentum stops as trepidation creeps through my chest. I hop off the swings and run over to the monkey bars. I climb along with the other kids, feigning calmness, all while looking for a familiar face, another classmate. I jump down and make my way to the other side of the play yard, checking the younger grades' playground just in case. My class isn't here. I'm sure of it now. Maybe they've gone back to the room. Maybe Miss Dawson decided to do indoor recess today just for a change. No one objects when I hurry back into the building. My heart pounds in my throat, and I can imagine the trouble I'll be in for losing my class. The classroom door is open, and I take a deep breath before stepping inside. No one. The room is empty. A chalkboard and 20 empty desks stare at me. I stand there, blinking back tears. Now what? I'm all alone and have no idea where to go. Chapter 3. Club Girls. It's time to ask for help. I know what to do, but the very thought makes my knees weak. I need to walk into Miss Wade's class and tell her I'm lost. Miss Wade will fix this. I wipe my eyes and prep myself with several deep breaths. Then I walk across the hall. The door is closed. Should I knock or just walk in? I opt for a brief knock before pushing the door open. Miss Wade turns from the blackboard and looks at me expectantly. Yes? I focus on her, ignoring the curious staring eyes that latch onto me. I walk over and whisper, I've lost my class. Miss Wade blinks, her expression bewildered, and then it melts into what I hope is sympathy. Come on, I'll help you find them. She looks at her students. I'll be gone for a few minutes. Work on your reading assignment. Monica, take names. If anyone talks or makes noises, let me know. Miss Dawson's your teacher, Miss Wade asks as she leads me from the room. I nod. We always have recess right now, but I went outside and no one's there. Miss Wade's reply is non-committal. She doesn't say anything else as we troop through the school. Wait here, she says, stopping outside a room. She disappears inside, and I read the plaque next to the door. Teacher's Lounge. So this is a room just for teachers. Is Miss Dawson here? Where is my class? Miss Wade emerges with Miss Dawson, who looks me over with bewilderment. I'll be going now, Miss Wade says with a wave. Thank you, Miss Dawson replies, and then she focuses on me, staring down the bridge of her nose at me. Why aren't you with the class? I swallow and blink quickly to discourage the gathering tears. I stopped to tie my shoe. When I looked up, everyone was gone. I thought they went to recess, so I went too, but no one was there. The treacherous tears are forming in my eyes in spite of my best efforts. I long for my old school. I long for the familiarity of the routine, the hallways, the teachers I knew, the classmates I grew up with since kindergarten. This school isn't my place. Miss Dawson puts a hand on my shoulder. It's all right. The class is at PE. We have morning recess every day during the first week of school. After that, we only have it on Mondays. The rest of the week, it's PE. Oh, I say dumbly. What an idiot I was to assume I knew the schedule around here. Where's P.E.? In the cafeteria. Come on, I'll walk you there. I'd rather not go. I don't want to show up for class 15 minutes late and have everyone wonder what happened to me. But I can't tell Miss Dawson no. I trudge along behind, no longer excited about today. I walk into the cafeteria timidly. I don't expect anyone except Danelle to notice I was missing, but several of my classmates spot me. Where did you go? Carla asks. You just vanished. Cassie! Danelle gives me a hug. Did you get sick? I got lost, I say, going for the humble pie. I thought you guys were at recess. That earns some polite titters from my classmates, but nobody mocks me. In fact, everyone is super nice about it, as if they understand how traumatizing this is for me. Maybe it's not so bad here. Maybe I need to give it more time. Remember, Cassie, you're not a bus rider today, Miss Dawson says after lunch as I put my homework in my backpack. Your mom sent a note. You've got girls' club after school. Thank you, Miss Dawson, I say. Not that I've forgotten. How could I? My stomach is in knots at the thought of meeting my new unit. I'd been a part of my old troop for 5 years, starting in kindergarten. Had this unit been together just as long? I'll be the odd girl, the intruder. The final bell rings. I put on my backpack and pick up my lunch box before making my way to the cafeteria. I spot the group immediately. A lunch table is still out, 3 girls and 2 women seated around it. I approach but don't sit down. One of the women looks up. She is thin with short brown hair and a round, friendly face. She smiles at me. Hi, I'm Margaret. I'm your leader. You must be... Her question trails off in expectation. I put on a brave smile. I'm Cassandra Jones. A girl at the table turns around. A girl with short blonde hair and a face very similar to Margaret's. Riley. Oh, I know her, Riley says. She's in my class. Well, great. Margaret stands up and takes my arm, guiding me to the table. We're so excited to have you, and how nice that you and Riley are already friends. Riley hasn't spoken more than 3 words to me since school started. I don't think standing in line next to each other makes us friends. But now she scoots over to make room beside her. You can sit by me. She points out the other girls. That's Sierra, Leanne, and Jaden. My mom's our leader, Patricia. She points to the other woman, a taller woman with broad shoulders and wavy red hair. She's the assistant leader. She's Jaden's mom. Tricia doesn't smile at the mention of her name. She glances up and stares at me as if trying to figure out why I'm here. I wait until Tricia looks down, then I whisper to Riley, I don't think she likes me. Riley shrugs. She's moody. I nod and shrug it off as well. I try to place all the names and faces together. We're a small group. There'll be more, Margaret says, handing me a book. Sure enough, more girls file in. Maureen, Cheyenne, Stacy, Kay, Janice. Still a small group, but not as bad as I'd feared. My last troop had about 15 girls in it. Margaret leads us in a song and a game, and then we work on our first merit badge, what to do in an emergency. We finish up with another game, then hold hands and sing a song about friendship. Riley doesn't let go of my hand when we finish. She gives it a squeeze. We're friends forever now. Yeah, I say, caught off guard but also hopeful. I could use another friend. I see my mom's van pull up outside and gather up my things. Bye, I call, running toward the exit. Bye, the girls chorus back. See you tomorrow, Riley says, waving. I let myself into the passenger side and plop down with a sigh. How was it? My mom asks, giving me a worried look. Great, I say. It was great. I made lots of new friends. Chapter 4. Blow Up. The week drags by. I can hardly wait for Girls' Club again. Lee Ann, Riley, and Cheyenne are in my class at school, and all 3 girls act friendly now. Especially Riley. Danielle and I are heading for the swings at recess when Riley steps over. We're playing freeze tag by the dome, she says. Want to play with us? Freeze tag? I love the game. And I haven't played it since we moved. Sure, we'd love to. I look at Danielle, but she's frowning. No, I don't think so, she says. We like to swing." "You could do both," Riley says, weaving her fingers together in front of her. "Play freeze tag and then swing." I watch Danielle's expression, but it doesn't relent. "We'll swing first," I tell Riley. "Then we'll come join you." "Sure," Riley says. She turns and walks away. "You don't like freeze tag?" I ask, trying to feel out why Danielle reacted that way. She grunts. "I don't like Riley." "Really?" I try to think what Riley could have done to merit such a response. Sure, she didn't say much to me in the first week of school, but no one did. Riley's shy, like me. Danielle rolls her eyes. She's so immature. I consider that statement as we swing higher and higher into the air. "Did you guys used to be friends?" "No, but we've known each other for forever." "Trust me on this one." I think about Danielle's words all day. We never do join Riley's group for freeze tag, and I feel bad about that. Only when school is out and Riley gets up to head for the cafeteria do I jump up and run after her. "Riley!" I call. Riley pauses and waits, one eyebrow raised. "Sorry we didn't join you at recess," I say, catching my breath. "We decided to swing the whole time." "Yeah," Riley says, nodding. We walk side by side in silence before I venture. "So do you and Danil know each other?" "Not really. We were in the same preschool, but that was like forever ago." "Wow, they've lived around each other that long." Once again, I feel like the odd one out. But how can Danil possibly know what Riley is like if they haven't hung out since preschool? We reach the cafeteria and join the other girls around a table covered in swaths of patterned fabric. Riley's mom comes over and talks to her a bit, then stands with Trisha at the front. "Today we're going to make stuffed animals," Trisha says, holding up a bear covered in plaid fabric. Next to her, Margaret smiles down at us, expressing all the enthusiasm that Trisha isn't. "It's really very easy." She goes on to demonstrate, and I wish I could freeze frame the instructions. I can tell already this will be confusing. "So everyone, pick your fabric, and I'll walk you through the instructions again." I lean in with the rest of the girls, sifting through the pre-cut fabric shapes and choosing one I like. Margaret leaves Trisha's side to walk around us, giving advice and answering questions. "How is this going to be a stuffed animal?" I whisper to Sierra. "Cassandra," Trisha says loudly, "I don't need anyone talking while I'm instructing. Please pay attention." I look down, my cheeks warming under the chastisement. I try to pay attention, but my ears buzz with humiliation. Everyone is working now, pulling a needle and thread along the edges of their fabric. Trisha is still explaining, but I've missed the first directions. I turn to Margaret when she passes me. "I didn't quite get it. Can you show me?" "Cassandra," Trisha barks. "Around these parts, young lady, we show respect. If I'm talking, you're not. I don't know if you think you're something special or better than us, but if I have to tell you again to be quiet, you'll spend the rest of the time in your own special corner. Do you hear me?" I don't even know how to respond. My breath comes in shaky little gasps, and I think my eyes will pop out of my head. How can she talk to me that way? What right does she have? "Answer me!" All the girls are staring at me, their faces reflecting the shock I feel. I bob my head. "Say yes, ma'am. That's how we talk in these parts." "Yes, ma'am," I whisper. I fist my hands together as tremors of anger sweep through me. I bite my lip so hard I taste blood. I want to call my mom. Now I want to go home. I want to go home. I can't bear to be in the same room with this ogre of a woman for one more minute. Apparently satisfied that I'm subdued, Trisha goes back to her instructions. I put my piece of fabric down on the table. Without asking permission, I stand up and walk out of the cafeteria. I keep going until I get to the bathroom in the connecting hallway. Only once inside do I allow myself to release the tension I feel. "How dare she?" I rage at my reflection. My own wretched face stares back, tears rolling down my cheeks, my brown eyes bloodshot. "Who does she think she is? I was just asking for help. That witch," I stick my knuckle in my mouth and sob, but the anger is just getting going. I pull my hand out and hit the mirror, screaming, "I hate her! I hate her! She's so mean! She's so awful! I hate this place! I hate her so much!" A face appears in the mirror behind me. I meet the eyes of Jaden, Trisha's daughter. Jaden turns around and goes for the bathroom door. "Wait, Jaden!" I cry out, panicking. I reach for Jaden, anxious to draw her back, but Jaden doesn't wait. She goes out, the door swooshing behind her. I gasp and wrap my arms around my shoulders. I sob, rocking myself back and forth. I know what Jaden is doing. At this moment, she's tattling on me, telling Trisha everything I said in the bathroom. If only I could flee. I should run from here, leave the school. Never come back. I never want to talk to Trisha again. I can't stay in this group. The door bangs open, hard enough to hit the wall behind it. I drop my hands to my sides and brace myself. Trisha comes in and faces me, lips pursed together and her arms folded. "What's your problem?" she demands. All of my gusto leaves me. I try to be brave. "I do not want to cry in front of this woman." "Nothing," I whisper. "I gave you very basic instructions. All you have to do is follow them. And whatever you think of me, whatever your problem is, you have absolutely no right to come in here and badmouth me." I blink, my eyelids feeling swollen and tight over my eyes. I can't reason with a mad woman. "Now I expect an apology from you. Then you get yourself out of this bathroom and join us, with a good, respectful attitude." "Sorry," I murmur. "I'm not sorry, not in the least. But I'm smart enough to know the only way I'll get out of this is by saying it." Trisha grabs the door and yanks it open. "Now go, and I better not hear you talking about this to anyone." I walk in front, clenching my teeth together. Chapter 5. Recoup and Recovery. The girls are stitching up their beers, all of them looking more or less like Trisha's. I shove aside my piece of fabric and sit down at the table. I slump over, putting my chin on my fist. Margaret sits down across from me and picks up the fabric. "Can I help you with this?" I shrug. I watch as Margaret puts the bear together, but I don't offer to help. "Did she get you in trouble?" Margaret whispers. My eyes burn again, and I close them. I just want to go home. This will all be over soon. A cool hand closes over mine, and I open my eyes to see Margaret staring at me, sympathy on her face. "I'm sorry." I nod and look away. A small part of me recognizes that Margaret is an ally, but the bigger part of me feels betrayed. Margaret is the leader, not Trisha. She could have stood up to her, defended me. Even now, she could tell Trisha she was in the wrong, and I didn't do anything to deserve such treatment. But Margaret won't do that. Can't do that. She's too timid and perhaps just as afraid of Trisha as I am. I don't speak to anyone the rest of the time at Girls' Club. Everyone finishes up with their bears and starts a game. I fiddle with my bear, pretending to be too engaged in the project to play. I join in the closing song only because Trisha calls me out, and I'd rather stand there and lip-sync than cause another scene. Then it's finally over, and my mom's blue van pulls around to the side. I grab my bag and dash out. "What's wrong?" my mom asks as soon as I open the car door. I pass a hand over my eyes. It must be obvious that I've been bawling. Even now, I feel the sting, the threat of more tears just below the surface. My younger brother and sisters argue loudly in the back seat, and I let the noise invade my senses, dull the sharpness of the incident. I take a careful breath. I don't want to be in this girls' club anymore. My mom raises both eyebrows. "Really? But you've been so excited all week." Someone taps on my window, and I turn to see Margaret there. My mom presses a button, and the window rolls down. "Hi, Karen," Margaret says, giving a little wave. "I just wanted to talk to you about what happened today." I shrink back in my seat and avoid eye contact, wishing I didn't have to be here to overhear the conversation. "What happened?" my mom asks, and I detect a low note of warning in her voice. Margaret hesitates, her eyes flitting to me. I didn't see all of it. But Trisha, the assistant leader, got on to Cassie rather harshly. Then Cassie went to the bathroom, and Trisha followed her. I'm not sure what happened then, but I think they had an altercation. My mom turns to me, danger flashing in her dark eyes. She followed you to the bathroom? I force myself to nod. The prickling gets to be too much, and the tears manage to work their way down my face. My mom turns her attention back to Margaret. Thank you for telling me. It's Margaret, right? Margaret smiles. Yes, Cassie's a great addition to our unit. My daughter Riley really likes her. Thanks again. We'll talk later. My mom rolls up the window, signaling the end of the conversation. She pulls the car away from the curb. Cassie, what happened? I don't really know, I mumble. She just started yelling at me in front of everyone. So I went to the bathroom. Then she came in and yelled at me some more and made me come out. My mom keeps her eyes on the road, but I see the way they narrow. That doesn't make sense, Cassie. Why would she just yell at you? I exhale. She doesn't like me. I was talking to Margaret and she got mad about it. So I went to the bathroom to cry and yell and just vent, you know. But Jaden followed me in and Jaden told on me. I shrug. So that's what happened. And you don't want to go anymore? My mom says in a softer tone. I shake my head. No. I'm done with that group. Well, I won't make you go. She turns down the road that leads out of the city and into the country. We can look for another unit, maybe at a different school. But before we do, I want you to sleep on this and think really hard. It sounds like there are a lot of positives to this group. You have one leader who's really nice and likes you. You have friends if you can deal with Trisha. You might be able to turn this negative experience around and still have a good time with these girls. I consider my mother's words. I'll think about it. Right now, my feelings are clear. I want out of that group. I don't feel better in the morning. I find a seat by myself on the bus and spend the ride drafting a note to Miss Buckley. The school counselor? I write down everything that happened. Fresh tears come to my eyes as I rewrite it, and my chin trembles with fury and indignation. No one has ever spoken that way to me before. And truthfully, I regret what I said too. I was so angry, lashing out and saying things in the bathroom I'd never say in person. My shame makes me feel black and dirty inside. I finish my note before the bus arrives. I pause by Miss Buckley's office and find the little mailbox for students to drop notes in. I shove it inside and cross my fingers. Let Miss Buckley find it soon, I pray. I spend the rest of the day waiting. My feelings are near the surface, and any time anyone speaks to me, I find myself close to tears again. I keep glancing toward the classroom door, hoping Mrs. Buckley or one of her student helpers will appear. No one comes. At recess, I tell Daniil I'm not feeling well. I don't want to swing today. Instead, I sit on the sidewalk and play with the grass, tearing up little pieces and searching for 4-leaf clovers. 2 shoes appear next to me, and then Riley plunks down on the sidewalk. Are you okay? She asks. I nod. I rest my chin on my knees and don't meet her eyes. Trisha's mean, Riley continues. She always has been. I don't know why. Maybe she just doesn't know what to do around kids. Does she have any besides Jaden? I asked. A little boy. He's like 3 or something. She shouldn't be a leader then. Riley shrugs. No one else volunteered. My mom couldn't do it by herself. I suppose that's true, but I still don't like it. I'm going to switch groups. Really? Riley falls silent. We both pick at the grass for a bit, adding the pieces we picked to a growing pile on the sidewalk. Well, that's too bad. Mrs. Dawson blows her whistle. Students stop their play and gather in from the corners of the yard. You should come over and spend the night, Riley says. The invitation catches me off guard. I have a best friend, but so far, Daniil hasn't invited me over. I'd expected that to be my first invite, but I quickly brush it off. That would be fun. Maybe this Friday, Riley suggests. Okay, I say. A little bit of light cracks through the blackness in my soul, breaking off a chunk of the dark. I'll ask my mom. It isn't until 2 days later that Mrs. Buckley appears in the classroom door. She waves at Mrs. Dawson and then looks at me. "Cassandra," she says, beckoning to me. I put my pencils back in their box and shove my work inside the desk. I stand up and follow Miss Buckley down the hall, hands clasped in front of me. We enter Mrs. Buckley's office. As soon as the door shuts, she turns to me, her short reddish-brown bob brushing the tops of her shoulders. "I'm so sorry I didn't come for you sooner. I've been out of the office, and when I finally found your note, I realized how urgent it was. I could tell how distraught you were. How are you now?" She sits behind the table, and I do too. "I'm okay," I say. "I'm doing a lot better, actually. It was really, really awful, but I'm okay." "Would you like to talk about it?" I hesitate. Well, I just don't know what to do about Tricia. I think she's an awful person. I was thinking about changing girls' club groups so I wouldn't have to see her anymore. "Are you afraid of her?" Miss Buckley asks, her eyes gentle. "A little," I admit. I don't want her to yell at me again, and I didn't even really do anything. "So let's talk about how you can cope when someone overreacts. There's not much you can do to stop them, but you can control your feelings. How did you feel?" "Angry," I say. "I got too angry. I wanted to hurt something." "That's normal, Cassandra. But you have to learn how to contain that. Or wait until the appropriate moment to vent it." "Yeah, I agree. I agree with that." "Do you like girls' club?" "Yes," I say without hesitation. "I love it. I've been doing it since I was 5. Is Tricia so important to your life that you let her take away something you love?" "No, but I can join a different unit and still be in girls' club." "What about the friends you have here?" "I think of Riley. I'll miss them." "Is it worth it, Cassie? Or can you put Tricia into a small part of your mind as someone who's not important to you, and then shrug it off any time she's mean to you?" "I consider that. Can I? Am I strong enough to not let Tricia get under my skin?" "I can try," I say slowly. "I guess I could give it another week at least." Mrs. Buckley smiles at me. "I think you're a very brave girl." She turns around to her game shelf. "Now, why don't we play a game before you go back?" Chapter 6. Sleepover. "Are you sure about this?" Mom asks as she helps me roll up the sleeping bag. "Yes! I can hardly wait. My first sleepover since the move. I check my duffel bag to make sure I have everything I need. Let's go! Riley said I could come over any time after school." "Patience," Mom laughs. "I already spoke to Mrs. Isabel. Make sure your chores are done. Nobody wants to do them for you while you're off having fun." I utter a groan but drop my bag and head for the kitchen. I unload the dishes as quickly as I can, stacking them into neat piles in the cupboards. The trash isn't full, so I leave it alone. "Okay," I say, skipping into the laundry room where Mom sorts clothing. "I'm ready now." "I'm almost done with dinner," she says. "Ask your dad to take you." "Dad!" I race toward the bedroom and plow into my father as he comes into the kitchen. "Mom said to tell you to take me to Riley's house." He raises his eyes toward Mom. "Does Cassie know how to get there?" "How would she know that? She's never been there." Mom retreats to the dining room and comes back with a sheet of paper. "Here's the address." He types it into his phone. "Ready to go, kiddo?" "Yes." I rock back and forth on my heels with anticipation. My first sleepover in Arkansas. We pile into the car and head back into town. The road changes from gravel to asphalt as we pass cookie-cutter houses and trailer parks. My father finally turns into a large multiplex apartment, similar to the one we lived in before moving into our big house. "Is this it?" he asks me. I search the parking lot for some identifying feature. One apartment has several potted plants overflowing on the ledge. "There!" I spot Riley coming out the front door with 2 dogs in tow. "Yes, this is it!" My dad pulls up the rest of the way and parks in front of the apartment. "Hi!" I say, jumping out of the car. "Hi!" Riley greets. She helps me get my stuff inside. A tall man with long reddish hair stands in the kitchen. "Dad, this is Cassie," Riley says. "Her dad's outside." "Well, I'll go meet him," he says, letting himself out. "That's my dad, Len," Riley says, showing me her room. It's down the hall from the master bedroom and next to the bathroom. This is cool, I say. I like your house. It's cozy. The insulation's coming out. Riley kicks at a crack in the wall. You can sleep on my bed if you want, instead of on the floor. She gestures to the sleeping bag. Sure. A little boy pokes his head in the room and squirts Riley with the water gun. Howard! Riley screeches. She grabs for him, but he's already fled the house. She sighs and shakes her head. And that's my horrible little brother. Yeah, I nod. I know that feeling. He knows your brother. Scott? I think they're in the same class. Oh, I'll ask him. I glance around the bedroom. So where does Howard sleep? At the end of the hall, Riley says, with Mom and Dad. There's a third room at the other end of the house, but it's a storage room right now. Ah, I nod my understanding. Cassie, my dad calls from the front room. Yeah, I call back. Call me tomorrow and I'll come get you. Be good. I will, I answer, rolling my eyes while Riley giggles. Are you hungry? She leads me out of my bedroom and back into the square kitchen. My stomach rumbles an answer. Yes. You like ramen? She opens a cupboard. Ramen? I echo. Like top ramen? I don't know. Riley holds up a small crinkly package. This is ramen. Yeah, top ramen. I love it. Great. We just call it ramen around here. She tosses me the package. Let's eat it. She crosses the kitchen and opens the front door. Wait, like this? I follow her out to the parking lot, holding the package, perplexed. Where are you going to cook it? Riley turns around, her green eyes sparkling. You've never eaten it raw? Come on, you're going to love this. Riley's dad is working underneath his big white pickup truck. He has it parked on the grass next to the parking lot. Riley climbs up on the hood and helps me join her. This is how we eat it, she says. She takes the package from me and opens it, then breaks off a piece of the noodles. Then you open the flavor pack. She rips open the small foil packet. And you just dip it in. See? She sticks the noodles in the salty powder and pulls it out. I watch her bite into the powder-covered noodles. All right, here goes, I say, tearing off my own piece and trying it. My teeth crunch down on the raw ramen, and I nearly choke on the strong, salty flavoring. My eyes water, and I laugh. Yeah, it's good. I prefer it cooked, but this isn't bad. I eat it this way all the time, maybe every day. The two dogs circle around the truck, barking and wagging their tails. Riley throws them a noodle, so I do too. Don't feed the dogs, Riley says. You'll spoil them. But you did, I say. They're my dogs. True. I shrug it off. So who's your best friend? Riley asks. Danelle, I say. Yeah, that's nice. Who's your best friend? I ask. I don't know. You, I guess. Me? I don't know how I feel about that. Flattered, maybe, that someone might like me that much. A little guilty, because I don't consider Riley my best friend. The dogs bark again, begging for Riley's attention. What are their names? I ask. We have one dog, Pioneer, named because he was the first animal in our new house, and one cat, a Siamese named Baby Blue. I love animals. I wish we could have a dozen more. Riley points to the dogs. That one's Itchy, because he's always scratching, and that one's Shut It. No reason. And that one's Scaredy, because he always runs away from us. We can never get him to stay close unless we have him on a leash. Mom says we have too many. She wants to get rid of them. Scaredy. I stare at him, the white and black mutt with a curvy tail and skinny little legs. I want to hold him. He won't let you near him. I have to try. I hop off the truck and hold out my hand. Here, boy. Come on, come here. The dog puts his ears down and tucks his tail in closer. Come on, I beg. I whistle and click my tongue. I won't hurt you. He takes several steps backward. Hoping to surprise him, I dive at him. With a yelp of fear, the dog turns and runs for the open apartment door. Riley sits on the truck laughing. I told you. I climb back up. They're so cute. Can I keep one? She stops laughing. I don't think so. Let's ask your mom. I bet she says yes. I can't take my eyes off of Scaredy. I desperately want that dog. Tomorrow, Cassie, Riley replies. She's not home right now anyway. She's working tonight. Oh, okay. Riley hops off the truck. Let's watch a movie. Riley's dad shuts the dogs up in the laundry room for the night, where they howl and scratch, putting up such a fuss that I think for sure someone will come knocking on the door. But no one does. I must fall asleep watching the movie because I wake up once in the night to the staticky buzz of the television. I turn it off, use the bathroom, and curl back up on the living room floor next to Riley. I wake up again when Riley's dad steps into the house. "Good morning, Mr. Isabel," I say, as politely as I can. "Morning," he replies in a gruff voice. He glances at Riley, still sleeping on the floor. "Want some breakfast?" "Sure." I sit down at the card table pushed up against the wall. A moment later, Riley's dad dumps 2 hot pieces of French toast on a plate and hands them to me with a bottle of syrup. "Thanks." Riley wakes up and joins me, and Mr. Isabel makes her some French toast too. "Good morning, girls." Margaret comes out of the back room, running a brush through her short brown hair. Dark shadows ring her eyes, and her voice is thick and groggy. I swallow and say, "Hi, Margaret." "Hi, Mom," Riley says. "Can we go for a walk today?" "Yes, but stay on the sidewalk and don't go across the street or into any houses. And take the dogs with you." A younger voice calls from the back, "Can I go too?" "And Howard," Margaret adds. Riley sighs. "Please, Mom, just us." "No." Margaret turns the brush on Riley's hair now, tugging her head as she combs. "I have things to do and need him occupied. Here, Cassie." She moves to the couch. "Come sit so I can brush your hair." I run my fingers through my long brown hair, but I don't get very far before they get caught. I watch as Margaret cleans out the brush and puts Riley's strawberry blonde hair in a jewelry box already stuffed with hair. "Why are you keeping that?" "For my dad," Riley answers from the kitchen table. "Someday when he goes bald, Mom's going to make him a wig." "Really?" I sit down in front of Margaret. "Put my hair in too." Howard stumbles down the hallway and comes to a stop in the middle of the kitchen. "I'm hungry," he announces. "Well, eat fast," Riley says, clearing her plate from the table, "or we'll leave without you." We head outside, but instead of walking through the parking lot to the sidewalk, Riley leads me behind the apartment complex and into the wooded ravine. The 3 dogs parade behind us, tails wagging and tongues lolling. I keep glancing back and whistling for Scaredy. Every time I do, he stops walking and ducks down really low. "Wait up, Riley!" Howard whines behind us, his legs pumping to reach us. "Hurry, he's catching up!" Riley whispers. She grabs my arm and hauls me down into the overgrown bushes. I'm coming, I say, sliding down the leaves and hopping over branches. He stays close behind. We reach the bottom of the ravine, then turn around and start back up. I spot a large white house beside the apartment complex. "Whose house is that?" I ask. Riley looks up from the thorn bush she's gingerly extracting from her shirt. "Oh, that's the manager's house. Adrienne lives there." "Who's Adrienne?" "My mean neighbor. You're better off not meeting her." "Mean neighbor?" I widen my eyes. "What's so mean about her?" "She steals your friends." Riley picks up a stick and breaks it in half. "She tells people lies about you and acts all sugary and sweet." "But your friends don't fall for it, do they?" Maybe they do. Maybe that's why Riley doesn't have a best friend besides me. She doesn't answer. She leads me to the sidewalk and we start walking in the direction of Riley's apartment. The dogs and Howard are close on our heels. I want so badly to hold Scaredy. He just won't let me get close. "Tick-check," Margaret says when we come in the door. "Tick-check?" Riley stands still while Margaret sifts through her hair and then checks her clothes. "Make sure you look yourself over when you change," Margaret tells her. Then she turns on me. "What's tick-check?" I ask, following Riley's example and holding still while Margaret lifts sections of my hair. She chuckles. "That's right, you're not an Arkansan. Ticks are these little bugs that drop on you from the trees or crawl up from the grass. They latch onto your skin and stay there, sucking your blood. Anytime you go outside, you should check for them." A shudder runs through me, starting at my hips and going to my shoulders. Sounds horrible. They're not so bad. Normal. Just check for them. Riley and I are both tick-free. Riley plops down on the couch and turns the TV on. I join her, though I've never seen the show before and I have no idea what's going on. My parents are strict about television. I only get to watch movies. Sometimes a TV show, but everyone has to agree on it, and with 4 kids, that isn't often. The phone rings and Margaret answers it. "Hello, this is Margaret." "Oh, hi. Adrienne wants her hair braided?" "Sure, send her right over." I glance at Riley. "Is that the same Adrienne you warned me about?" "Watch and see," Riley whispers. "She'll be so super nice to you." She comes to the door a few minutes later. Riley pulls me outside. "We don't need to watch her get her hair done," Riley says. "Boring anyway." "What's that?" I point to the small yellow automobile in the parking lot. It wasn't there when we got home from our walk. I don't know. We approach it. I stay back in case it springs to life and tries to run us over. Like my go-kart? We both turn around as Adrienne steps down from the porch and joins us. She has wire-framed glasses, and her curly brown hair is held back in a neat French braid. That's how I got here, Adrienne continues. I didn't walk, if that's what you thought. She walks right past Riley and gives me a big smile. Want to ride it? Yeah, sure. Can I say. It looks fun. And then I remember Riley. Adrienne hasn't even said hello to her. Wait, what about Riley? Riley can ride some other time. She lives here, right? Adrienne rolls her eyes behind her glasses. I'm Adrienne. What's your name? Cassie. I'm Riley's best friend. The words pop out of my mouth unexpectedly, and I can't take them back. My face burns. I feel like a traitor. Chapter 7. Dogfight. Best friend? Adrienne surveys Riley again. I guess you can both ride it. Cassie gets to go first. I climb inside, my mind spinning. I nod at Adrienne's instructions and then drive the little car in a small circle before returning it for Riley. While Riley rides around in it, Adrienne stands by me. Do you like Riley's apartment? She asks. I glance behind me. Sure. And all the dogs? Adrienne arches an eyebrow. I point at Scaredy. That one. I like him the most, but he runs away every time I try to touch him. I'll get him. Adrienne is off like a shot. I can't help feeling some admiration at the way she crouches down and blocks the dogs at every escape route. Finally, she catches him and returns with him in her arms, a triumphant smile on her face. What are you doing? Riley is out of the go-kart, scowling as she approaches us. She caught the dog for me. I hold my arms out, breathless as Adrienne turns the trembling creature over to me. He shakes in my arms, thin, wiry tail wrapped around his little body. We can catch him ourselves, Cassie. Put him down. I ignore Riley's order. I sit down cross-legged in the grass, cooing at Scaredy and stroking his head. Don't be scared of me, I whisper. I love you. Riley leans against the garage wall. Bye, Adrienne. Just trying to be nice. Jeez. She gets back in her go-kart. See you around, Cassie. I give a little wave. See, she's evil, Riley says, shielding her eyes against the sun with one hand and glaring in the direction Adrienne went. Yeah, I say, but with Scaredy in my lap, I can hardly condemn Adrienne. Finally, I'm getting to hold the dog. Riley turns to me with a big smile. But you passed! She didn't steal you away from me. Best friends, right? I hesitate. Well, I'm still best friends with Danelle. I can have two best friends, I suppose. Margaret comes out of the house, walking down the steps to join us. You like that dog, Cassie? I love him. My hands stroke his little shaking head, trying to calm his fast-beating heart. Do you want to keep him? I think we have enough dogs here. I lift my head and utter a gasp. Really? Could I? I wrap my arms around him and cuddle him to my chest. Could he really be mine? Well, I've got to ask your mom. What? Riley sputters. Why? He's our dog. You know the management said we can have one dog, honey, Margaret says, reaching for Riley. It's time for them to find new homes. Can we call my mom? I ask. Sure. You'll have to put the dog down. Reluctantly, I help him out of my lap. I start to ask Riley to keep an eye on him, then think better of it when I see her face. Tears streak down, her eyes swollen and red. She has her arms crossed over her chest and her lips pursed together. I rub Scaredy's head, feeling guilty for being so excited. I'll be right back. This time, at least, I have my phone number memorized. I call home and cross my fingers, hoping my mother will be agreeable. Hi, Mom, I say excitedly when she picks up. Hi, Cassandra. How are you? Are you ready to come home? Your dad's about to leave to get you. No, not yet. But I have a question. The Isabels have a little dog they're trying to find a new home for. He's super sweet, really obedient, and so cute. Can I? No. My mom interrupts before I even finish asking. Don't let that idea get into your head, Cassie. We already have Pioneer and Baby Blue. We're not bringing home any more animals. But, Mom, if you just saw him. No, Cassie. My mom's voice has taken on the stern, no questions edge. You can play with him every time you go to Riley's house. Until some stranger takes him home. But I keep the thought to myself. I know better than to argue. Okay, I sigh. Get your stuff together. Daddy will be there soon. Yes, Mom. I hang up the phone and turn around to Margaret. She said no, I say, and I can't stop the disappointed tears that spill over. Margaret wraps me up in a hug, all softness and sweet smelling. It's okay. We'll have him for a bit longer still. Go outside and hold him while you can. I do as I'm told, descending the steps and walking into the bright sunshine. I spot Riley right away, sitting on a wood crate and kicking her legs, staring into the distance. Hi, I say. I glance around for Scaredy, but I don't spot him in the open. Where's Scaredy? Riley bobs a shoulder in response. I feel a flash of annoyance. Come on, Riley. You were out here with him. Where'd he go? I put him away. You put him away? Okay, where is he? Riley points to a large, draining culvert next to the sidewalk. In the ditch. I stare at the ominous darkness in the giant pipe. I do not want to go in there. But how else will I get Scaredy back? I squat at the edge and hesitate. I can make out shapes in there, but nothing definite. I wouldn't go in there, Riley calls. She hasn't moved from the crate. There are snakes and rats. I swallow hard. Scaredy, I call softly. Come here, boy. I add a quiet whistle to the end. Nothing inside the culvert budges. I whirl on Riley, angry. Why did you put him in there? Because I don't want you to take him home, she replies. Well, for your information, I'm not taking him home. My mom said no, and now I don't even get to hold him until I go. Riley shrugs. So? You're here to play with me, not my dog. Is she actually jealous? I can't believe it. I'll just go call Adrienne and ask her to get him for me. Go ahead, Riley shoots back. I'm sure she'd be happy to have a new best friend. You are not my best friend, I breathe. You're not even a friend. Riley jumps off the crate. Fine. Go get your stuff and don't come back to my house. She storms off around the back of the house. I run inside, stuffing my things in my bag and grabbing my sleeping bag. Everything okay? Riley's mom asks from the kitchen sink. I take a deep breath. I'm not going to complain to Margaret about her daughter. Yeah, I'm upset about the dog, which is true. My dad's on his way. We sure enjoyed having you, Cassie. I hope you'll come again. Not likely, but I only smile and nod. I have my manners. I spend the rest of Saturday fuming over the loss of the dog and Riley's behavior. I'm angry at my mom and barely speak to her. Are they nice people? I hear her ask my dad. Seems like it. Met both parents. I go to the room I share with Emily. Mom is so unfair, I say, tossing my overnight bag on the bed. Riley's mom wanted to give me one of their dogs, and Mom wouldn't let me have it. Really? Emily looks up from where she rearranges her American dolls on the bottom bunk. What kind of dog? I lie down next to her and stare up at the top bunk. I don't know. Small, white and brown. Maybe a beagle. I don't have any idea really, but at least I've heard of that kind of dog. Maybe she'll change her mind. Did you have fun with Riley? I open my mouth to say no, then think better of it. Yeah, kind of. She was mean about the dog. She didn't want me to have him. But we'd had a nice time up until then. I feel a prickling of guilt. I shouldn't have left Riley's house without saying goodbye at least. I considered calling her, but I don't know what to say. Your dress needs to be ironed, Cassie. My mom pulls an off-white pleated dress out of my closet. But I don't have time to iron it, I say, taking the dress off the hanger. Daddy said we have to leave for church in 10 minutes. Then wear a different dress. My mom presses her fingers to the bridge of her nose, a sign that she's fighting a headache. She's already dressed in a dark blue floral print dress, her brown hair curled around her shoulders. How about this one? I pull out a red one with a pinafore and white collar. Sundays are always so stressful, with my dad yelling and my mom trying to get everyone out the door on time. I don't want to make it harder, but I don't want to iron either. That's fine. And brush your hair. I put the dress on and run a brush through the tangles of my long hair. Then I stop in front of my jewelry box. I love jewelry, and I hate to let a day go by without picking out something sparkly to wear. I choose my favorite locket, a tiger eye on a thick chain. Then I pick out some clip-on pearl earrings and a pink wire bracelet. I remember before I got my ears pierced, my best friend Tammy bought me a whole sheet of stick-on earrings. I did my best to keep them sticky, putting them back on the sheet after using them. But inevitably, several would fall off when I wore them, and eventually I only had mismatched pairs. It doesn't matter now, because my ears are pierced, but I smile at the thought of Tammy buying those for me. I know I should write her a letter or call her, but every time I think of it, I'm in the middle of something, like getting ready for church. In the car, everyone! My dad yells, and I slip on my black shoes and hurry out the door. The church building looks much the same as the one we attended in Texas. I wander the halls until I get to the Sunday school classroom in the back. I follow a few other kids my age and close the door behind me. The teacher stands at the front, her wavy brown hair hitting her shoulders. "Hi, everyone. I'm your new teacher, Sister Garrett. Since I don't know you, I'm going to call roll." She picks up a piece of paper and clears her throat. "Matthew Davis." "Here." "Gary Fawcett." "Here." "Riley Isabel." "Riley!" I burst out. "I know her. She's in my class at school." "She's also in your Sunday school class," the teacher says. "But I've never seen her," I say. "She's never come here before." "Well, then," the teacher smiles at me, "hopefully you can be the right kind of friend to bring her back." I frown. I wasn't that kind of friend when we were fighting. My teacher must see my hesitation because she says, "Just include her, Cassie. Invite her to hang out with you and your friends. Join your activities." I can do that. Maybe Riley would enjoy hanging out with me and Danelle. Our fight was stupid after all. I make up my mind to apologize the next time I see her. Maybe we will all be best friends. Thank you for listening to Walker Wildcats Year 1, Age 10, Episode 1, The New Girl, from the Extraordinarily Ordinary Life of Cassandra Jones, written and produced by Tamara Hart Heiner.